and something that I think might be very situational in this TI in particular coming up. So I'm intrigued on how much we're going to see it.
You watched that Kazu video, didn't you? He loves Legion Commander, and I know you're a Kazu sub, but he made a video recently where he was like, LC is busted and he is why. And I kind of agree with him. I think he's got a lot of these incremental buffs. I think Bounty Hunter is in a similar sort of vein, where it wasn't really pickable. Then you just saw a few changes where you were like, oh, okay, that seems kind of good. Now, it actually feels incredibly strong. You just dominate most of the lanes that you're in. You get faster scaling with the dual damage talent at level 10. And even just the Aghanim Shard, I think, is very underpurchased for the amount of utility that it gives. The amount of movement speed that you're going to have against this, like, Dark Seer, against a lot of the slows that they've got against a Pangolier. And you have 100% uptime if you've got the Aghanim Shard as well. So we'll see what avenue he looks to go down. This is the hero that I'm not as confident about, the Venomancer. Just being played as a position 4, it feels a little bit too slow and a little bit too passive. And when I've seen Zephyr look at his absolute best, it was either during a really slow meta where he could pick these things like a Treant Protector, or where he was playing incredibly fast during the early stages of the SEA TI qualifiers, where he was picking his Marcies, his Tusks, his Nyx Assassins, and he was just making play after play after play. Veno doesn't really do that, much more immobile.
Well, diving, I guess, a little bit deeper into what we're expecting out of Zephyr, is this... Could he be going for like a pretty early Aghanim Shard with the position 4 Venomancer?
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, who's really buying a BKB early on, you know? Like, Terrorblade probably not going to get it incredibly early. Pango is going to have the Rolling Thunder, so the latent toxicity isn't amazing. But again, it's the issue of you're a position 4, so you have even less farm than you would normally as a position 3, so you can't really look to put yourself out there into the middle of a team fight because you're just going to melt. And the cast range is still so small that you're going to get punished every time you're looking to use it. So I don't think this is a latent toxicity game until it's like super late, potentially, and you're able to play a lot more reliably around your other supports. But I just want to throw something back to what we saw in the previous series with Secret going up against Tempest. I mean, just remember the supports that Secret were playing. They were playing like the Enchantress and the Nyx Assassin, right? Two heroes that are very capable of going out on their own. They're pretty tanky. They've got some saving mechanisms for themselves. Compare that to this game for T1. They're playing with a Disruptor and a Venomancer. Really good at, like, holding small areas, but you don't really venture out on the map with them. So I feel like it's going to be a lot harder for you to get that vision advantage to enable these super deep dives that are going to be going on early from Topson. Maybe you can get some Plague Wards up for scouting, but the vision that those grant isn't that high. So I feel like Team Liquid might have a slight edge when it comes to being able to get a little bit of that extra vision out on the map. Especially with TP pushing the lanes in too, right? With the illusions.
That's a really good point, because often like a disruptor wants to be the one making the aggressive movements. Like you need the vision and heroes in front to get that vision to glimpse back. And T1, they don't particularly have that. I guess Topson really is that only person who can look to get very active. So we'll see what the item build is going to be out of him. What are we expecting as well from the Primal Beast position 2? Is it anything different from other roles?
I think most of the time you get a pretty early Aghanim Scepter, but there's nothing really that you want to break this game. So it's like, maybe the Lucky Shot. I guess the Aftershock as well. But nah, it doesn't feel like it's that good of an Ags game, but maybe it's just so set into the mentality that you just get it anyway. Typically the progression is like Phase Boots, Wand, Ag Scepter, BKB, Kyron, Sanj.
30 seconds to battle.
Well, it does feel like, though, it's going to be a game where Liquid have a incredible amount of team fighting, and it's going to come down to T1 if they're going to be able to combat that. Like, do you feel like they have to go for like aura items to help out with 5v5s? Are we looking at early BKBs, or is this going to be a game where they're looking to avoid team fights and maybe look to have control early on to prevent Liquid from utilizing all these ultimates in conjunction together?
We all know how good Topson is at making havoc, right? And just a lot of chaos around the map. I think they're going to be using him as bait a lot of the time, because you've got a Legion commander to be able to back him up, right? So just throw Topson out into a lane. He's going to be relatively tanky. Get him to soak up a little bit of that damage. You get the purge off with the press the attack, allows him to pop the uproar, and then you get the supports coming in after that. I feel like it's he's got such a key role this game because, again, the supports don't want to be frontlining at all.
And it all starts on how the laning stage is going to be set up here for Topson, which against the Pango, I mean, Topson does have a big right-click advantage. Mickey will always be able to secure last hits with the shield crash, and also, I guess the important thing is he can just get some distance away whenever Topson is trying to play aggressive with the trample.
I'm also fairly keen to see how Zephyr skills this game, because I feel like this is a game where these days, if you're playing a support Venomancer, oftentimes you get 2, maybe 3 points in the Venomous scale. I almost think it's worth getting 4 this game, with just how good that damage over time is going to be, and really looking to harass out people like the Terrorblade. Because, again, if you go into melee range, you're going to die, so Poison Sting isn't going to have a lot of value, and therefore Plague Ward as well kind of lessens in value, because a big part of what makes Plague Ward good is the damage over time that you're able to get stacking up.
Now, this is important early on for T1 in down this bottom lane. You know, Cuckoo's gone for the overwhelming odds
Top
at level 1.
Whitemon's getting chased.
Foxy might be able to find a solo kill. Thunderstrike holding back the Earthshaker for the moment, so Whitemon will get back towards the tower, but a lot of resources going to be expended in that trade.
For sure. They're actually going to try and make a kill happen here. Nice block off there by Boxy, preventing the follow-up coming through from Whitemon. It means that they're not able to connect through onto that kill. He was still only level 1 on Whitemon, putting his body in the way to make sure that that range creep doesn't go underneath the tower, and securing a lot of these early lanes, early waves, rather, for Ana. Never mind, it gets denied in his face.
Something we haven't seen quite often is going to be the Darkseer here. I think Zai played it once throughout the regional qualifiers, but what are we expecting in regards to his itemization? Is it just going to be kind of the stock standard in regards to the auras? I know it is a little bit different now with the Shard and the Scepter.
I think so. I think you could look to try and... It's so hard to say, right? Because they've got incredibly strong teamfight. And I was about to say I feel like they could potentially outlast T1 in a lot of these team fights, but that's really dependent on if Zephyr's able to get off a good Poison Nova and a good Venomous scale. If that doesn't happen, then by all means, go all these aura items and play for the long game. But unless, if he is able to, then you find yourself in a rough spot, and maybe you were better served getting a Blink Dagger and, you know, utilizing your amazing team fight with a great Vac Wall.
I think something he could be considering is looking towards the pipe as top lane, actually. Zai, they're going to glimpse him back. It was a beautiful fissure from Box here, but that's instantly nullified thanks to Whitemon. For Arnis having his own little jewel off to the right side, so they won't be able to continue the right-click damage into Zai at the moment.
Whitemon's doing a really good job, though. He's, like, well ahead in net worth relative to Zai, and even just the second point in the Rocket Barrage.
They're going to get aggressive. Let's see if they can kill off Ana. 2 points here in the Iron Shell, but the Rocket Barrage as well, but the damage is starting to stack up. Who wins the man fight, and Whitemon comes out on top.
The true Chad.
Disruptor out of all heroes gets the double kill. I think he got first blood as well onto Boxy, so that's a lot of gold for the Disruptor. Where's he in the net worth? Let's take a look.
He's
not that high up.
Not that high.
Bottom lane, Zephyr, he's going to go down. Insania and Matumba Man, with the use of the second Metamorphosis, are able to find a big kill.
Yeah, they're going to try and get a little bit of harassing onto Cuckoo as well. I mean, this is what I'm not a big fan of with the Venomancer, particularly as a 4. Looks like he might be prepping to potentially TP mid, but he just goes back bot. I mean, you're not the greatest at making a rotation through the mid lane. You're very slow, he doesn't have boots, and he's nowhere close to being able to pick it up, so a lot of your moves are just going to be telegraphed. You don't show on the map for like 5 seconds, the enemy team's going to know exactly what you're doing.
Dire structures are fortified.
Yeah, I was originally thinking like Zephyr might play a little bit more of a greedy game, because I feel like Cuckoo's going to have an okay time down bottom, because the Jakiro is not too much of an issue, because the press the attack, and Topson mid lane. That's a big solo kill for Topson to find, diving Mickey under the tower.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were you thinking? Like Veno just set himself up in the jungle with some Plague Wards and, you know, occasionally come back to the lane to fix the equilibrium, get Cuckoo farming back closer to his tower?
Top lane, hold that thought, because Ana's going to step in onto Zai. They've got the glimpse, beautifully done from Whitemon, still holding the drag back, so Ana will make sure that Zai will not escape, as Tier 1 are doing an incredible job in the lane so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Zephyr, he's got the second point in the Venomous Gale. Hasn't put the third point in just yet. Even when he was level 2, he was kind of making his mind up because, again, might just use the Plague Ward to be able to scout out a lot of these movements coming through to place to assist with dewarding on the high ground. Might even be looking to make a move towards the jungle, maybe build up a stack, assist with helping out the bottom power rune, but Topson's going to need to deal with this lane a little bit more easily because he's not going to be able to just leave the lane very reliably because it's just going to push underneath the tower with that siege creep still there.
Top lane, Whitemon should end up going down unless Arna's going to have something else to say about it.
Well, yes,
See how much of respect in the Gyrocopter's damage at the moment, and Whitemon will escape. Beautifully done from Arna. Meanwhile, mid lane though, Topson again with the dive, but Mickey just gets enough distance away with the swashbuckle. Topson was so close to getting a secondary kill onto the Pangolier.
Yeah. Insania made the move towards the lane as well. He denied the double damage rune that was available on the bottom side.
They're going to dive him under the tower. They've recognized that Arna doesn't have a support to play with him for the moment, so Zai, along with Boxy, are going to come out on top with the dive attempt. That's a big kill because Arna was off to a pretty good start in the lane.
Incredibly important for Zai to get that kill as well. I mean, it brings him up to level 5, means he can push the lanes out a lot more easily. And, you know, I said it before, Disruptor, Venomancer, not super capable of shoving out lanes. So when you've got these TB illusions plus the Ion Shell looking to make your life a little bit more difficult, it's quite rough.
Zephyr? Would it be a bit cautious here? Topson flies on in, and Mickey's already used all of his abilities, so Topson will find an easy kill, and meanwhile, Whitemon, he's going to glimpse back the other. So now it's just Boxy left alone. Topson's already used all his abilities, so Boxy will be okay.
You do know now that Insania can't make any movements. Like, he revealed his TP, he's going to walk back towards the bottom side because he's basically out of mana.
Dude, what a hero. Boxy will stop him short. Topson's still got a little bit of tramp.
Oh, not again.
Oh, no. Oh, the amount of times that people forget about the glimpse. Mickey sent packing and Topson sends Boxy into the grave for another time. That's a third death on the Earthshaker, and Topson, what a start he's off to. Top of the net worth and 3 kills on the Primal Beast.
I'd understand it, but it just happened. It just happened a few seconds ago.
Uh-oh. Cuckoo is going to find his first duel victory as well. Ice Path will only delay the inevitable as Topson is everywhere.
Yeah, this is the power of the Primal Beast. He's super comfortable playing it in that mid lane, but you can just flex it to other positions if you want. Topson, I mean, he had to be the most in-demand free agent, and kind of surprising that a lot of more teams didn't look to kind of secure him up.
R2, he's going to step in. He's going to be cautious about the magic damage coming out from Ana. He's going to use the Sunder to turn it back around. Doesn't get a lot of bonus health back. The wall's going to be utilized. Ana's going to be cautious, but with Cuckoo nearby, lands a big overwhelming odds, but it will not be enough to keep the Gyrocopter alive as now Mickey, he's shown up to the party with the Rolling Thunder. Bounce back, all they needed was the initial stun to bring down Cuckoo and Liquid. It's a big rotation for them out of top, but again, they need to know where Topson is because he's from bottom to top. He goes on to Mickey. He'll be able to kill him off with the onslaught, but he's going to be cautious though. Matumba Man, he's out of Metamorphosis duration, so Topson's actually going to push on forward. He's got the Pulverize in the arsenal. Whitemon nearby as well. They already know the Sunder was previously utilized, so Matumba Man, he's in trouble. A glimpse into Zephyr's damage.
Might need to deny him.
Can they keep the Terrorblade alive? They have the potential to deny, and Boxy will do just that. But it means that Topson can easily dive under the tower. Unstoppable streak for the Primal Beast 9 minutes in.
He's just everywhere. And the thing is, this sort of playstyle is going to enable the supports that I mentioned before as being pretty terrible at getting a lot of these early wards up. Look at where the wards are. There's one behind the mid-tier 1 tower. There's one scouting out the Ancients. Like, Zephyr's been able to get way too much vision up for what this hero is capable of.
And you need vision when you're playing with a Disruptor. I mean, already 2 points in the glimpse from Whitemon. Let's see.
Matu?
Into Matu's triangle. He's got a little bit of extra stats coming up from the Falcon play. Great positioning from Box here, though. But the Fissure will stop the Pulverize. But T1 are not going to stop getting aggressive. Topson, he's got some boys nearby to help take the tower. They've also got the Power Rune spawning shortly. The other side, Mickey, with the help of Zai, gets a pretty big kill to kind of slow down the momentum that's starting to be built.
It's a couple of kills that Cuckoo's died just from some mismanagement of his backpack. He had the chainmail in his backpack then. When he died at top previously, he had his boots, so he wasn't able to run away quite as effectively. He's got the phase boots completed now, but it's a missed opportunity as Topson.
Dude, Topson, that's a T2 tower! What's going on? Anyone nearby to stop the pulverize? It's just classic Topson Dota. I mean, that were the rest of Liquid. They're going to swarm towards his location. It's a big streak for them to find, but Topson
What streak?
will not be denied. He will get out with his own life. And meanwhile, Ana steps into the middle with the call down. The damage should be enough to be able to secure the backline kills. He'll get the first, and meanwhile, Mickey goes down in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower, as T1 will make sure that Topson will continue to be flawless in this game 1.
Pick up the pace. That is the name of the game for T1 Dota 2022. You remember back at TI10, T1 were by far the longest game time. They would always just try and drag it out super late because at the time they had Savage, they had Carl to be able to play around with. This is Topson. Topson doesn't care about any of that crap. He just wants to go in and be in your face at all stages of the game, and I love it. It's infectious for the rest of the team as well. You know, you would never have seen Zephyr and Whitemon playing this aggressively previously.
Should be able to get a duel victory mid lane. Whitemon can drag back Insane.
He'll die too quick.
Kill him before Cook. Oh, it's... And look at T1. They're going to make sure that Liquid get zero movements out of the map and zero room for them to be able to farm. Like, they need this Tier 1 tower to give enough space for Matumba, man, but T1, they don't want to allow that.
Alright, I was about to say, if you ever needed any indication about just how aggressively they were playing on T1, it was nearly 12 minutes and they had picked up 0 neutral items at that stage. Cuckoo only just got the first Possessed Mask right then.
See what the call's going to be for T1. Liquid are ready to take a team fight up top. They do have all their ultimates, and this is where they're going to be at their strongest. Looks like no fight will happen. T1, they're going to let this tower go for free, so this is important now that Marthu is going to get an extra wave, an extra couple of camps as well to be able to keep up in his farm.
I like this flex from Topson. It's nothing groundbreaking, but he's going into the BKB as a first item after the phase boots. Just because, again, it's not a great Aghanim Scepter game. So I feel like he'll probably look to get that into the Kyron Sange, and then who knows beyond then? Maybe then you're at the point where you might want something along the lines of a Shiva's Guard, for example, just for a little bit of that extra armor against the Terrorblade.
Well, they see Zai in the jungle. The use of the Observer Ward means that Zai, they're going to be able to sniff him out. Cuckoo should step in as well for the duel. There we go. This time they're going to be able to pick it up. Second duel victory from Cuckoo. You mentioned the wards prior. This time it was a defensive ward from T1 that was able to scout out Zai's positioning.
9-0-2 already on Topson. He is just bananas. 13 minutes in. He is... The map feels like
And look at them. They're just running straight to Martu. The ward on the high ground. Topson doesn't know how to stop, but Mickey gonna tempt the Rolling Thunder. The Fisher's gonna have an opportunity for him to bounce back. They got Martu nearby with the extra damage, and they're able to bring him down. A godlike streak given over to Mickey, but T1, can they find an avenue to re-enter the fight? Cuckoo won't be able to step in.
So I think... Obviously, they want to defend their Observer Ward, and they might look to stick around in this area, but as soon as Topson's alive, he's only 200-300 gold away from his BKB. So, oof, nice. But they'll know that they pop the Metamorphosis to be able to go for that kill. So it gives you basically a minute, maybe even a minute and a half, to be able to make plays where you know the Terrorblade's not going to be a factor. So I think we might see about a minute of downtime, and then it's just all systems go again for T1.
Bottom, the outpost. Mickey has got Zai nearby to play with. Gotta be cautious if they group up with the Static Storm potential, as Whitemon's just gonna lay that down onto Zai. And Topson will charge in as well. He can poke over the cliff. Mickey's not gonna expect it. It's Topson. Beautiful use out of the neutral item, but Mickey has got the swashbuckle backup. Just escapes with his life.
Oh, he's gone for the blind dive. Oh, clever. Even if he was there, might have been given a lot.
Look at under the T2 tower. Cuckoo. Oh, that enchant totem was perfect timing from Boxy. Just at the furthest reach to be able to hold back Cuckoo from getting the duel.
But Topson, he's got his BKB now, and wouldn't you know it, Pulverize back off cooldown. So I feel like this is the time where they're just going to look to go again. Let's have a look at the Metamorphosis, and yeah, a full minute away. So just shove the lanes in, then look to make another play. Let the creeps do the work. They're never
how do you
too far away.
No, they're not. Like, how do you recontrol your jungle here? Zephyr's got so many wards placed down, and you've also got the potential of Topson nearby. A vacuum trying to disrupt the initiation. Topson's going to turn it back around into the Pangolier. Not enough damage to bring down Mickey. Topson's going to be a little bit cautious, but the threat of the BKB means that Liquid, they can't heavily commit to deal with the Primal Beast. Mickey's still going to move on forward, but there will be no follow-up, as instead, Liquid, they'll turn to try and blow up Zephyr. They'll secure the kill, but the rest of T1, they've shown up as Cuckoo steps in with a duel.
Nice
an
deny.
Easy kill for him to find, but in fact, Zai, he's able to secure the deny. So Cuckoo does get the duel victory still regardless, but at least they stop some gold being given over into the bank of the Legion Commander.
Yeah, Topson just with a little bit of a drive by that time to end up actually fully connecting. Brings him to level 12, so slightly less cooldown on the Pulverize like he needed it. But the big thing for Liquid is that they've gotten past that super scary point where you had a minute where Matu just couldn't join in onto that team fight. Now he can, once he gets a little bit more mana. So we'll see how they're looking to adapt to that sort of gameplay. They seem to know that he's just farming up here. I'm sure they're having a look at the duration on those conjure images just to see where exactly he could be positioned, and so that's why Topson moves to the other side of the map and looks to try and pick off someone like Zai, but they've got good vision up. They're not going to get caught out.
The vision they're playing with Cuckoo. Very close to Boxy. Fissure. No, he's able to slip on through from Cuckoo. They did get confirmation of Topson being up top, but is instantly going to look to rejoin the team. Teleport used to mid. It's a big lead that T1 have been able to accumulate 17 minutes in with a 5,000 advantage. But again, Liquid, one good fight from them with all their ultimates could bring them back into this game.
What's going to enable that? Let's see how close Zai is to his big item. Still 400 gold away from that Pipe of Insight, so he really wants to try and shove this top lane in another time. The thing is with Topson, of course he went the phase boots. You need it whenever you're playing this kill-aggressive Primal Beast, but there's no one, again, that's great at pushing out lanes, and I'm sure he would love to have the Boots of Travel at this stage, just to be able to help fix the lanes a little bit more, but you just can't. That's not what the draft is designed to do.
I kind of feel bad because we've not really spoken too much about Ana. Like, we've had so much going on. Topson being godlike at one stage and trying to see an angle back in for Liquid. But for Ana, he's been free farming. Like, my guy's top of the net worth, 2, 3, and 6. BKB, working to the Maelstrom next item. Top lane, Whitemon. He glimpsed back Zai. Is in a whole world of pain here at the moment. Static Storm, awkward timing here from Whitemon. So Zai's going to be able to slip on out. And this is a lot of information now. Let's see what Liquid can do across the map. They're attempting to find a kill mid, but won't be able to do so. Still trying to get close to bring down Zai, but the Darkseer is a bit of an issue with that pipe. Meanwhile, back towards the mid lane. They're on to Zephyr and Ice Path, and the Rolling Thunder is going to be used as well. Zephyr will get the ultimate off, but it looks like there's no follow-up coming out from T1 to capitalize on the Poison Nova. Actually, Cuckoo trying to close the distance, but an Ice Path from afar, thanks to Insania, will hold back the attempt.
He didn't use the mech or his stick there on Zephyr. I'm a little surprised. Maybe just feeling like... I don't think there's an excuse, honestly. Maybe not the magic stick because he felt like he was dead regardless, but if Cuckoo's there ready to join in, I feel like prolonging your life for that extra little bit can do wonders.
Topson just playing with Matu down bottom, just pump faking the onslaught. Thinking about diving onto the tower, and stops it just a couple of inches in front of him, just for the extra damage on the creep wave.
I like how they're playing, though. They're completely split up the map on Liquid. I feel like they're resigned to the fact that, look, someone might die, and let's just bank on ourselves to outplay them so that it doesn't. But, you know, if we could just be farming multiple lanes while T1 with their relatively poor lane farming, it means that we're going to start to bring back this net worth lead, and they've already begun.
When are we expecting T1 to be able to consider about taking Roche? Because they haven't taken an objective for quite some time. Are there items we're waiting for, or maybe even levels that can potentially help out for them to take that real next big objective?
I wouldn't say necessarily levels. I mean, I'm sure they would love a Kyra and Sange. I'm sure they would love as they just walk into the Roche pit. I'm sure they would love having something like even just the Maelstrom, because the damage isn't super high right now. Cuckoo's got 3 duel victories so far, so he's doing a decent amount, but this is going to get scouted out pretty easily.
This is really scary, taking a fight in a choke point like this.
Oh, yeah.
Liquid lineup, they thrive in a close proximity team fight. So T1, their execution has to be perfect for this next fight. This Rolling Thunder is going to be used, but the Fissure, a little bit awkward. Mickey can jump on over. They're going to try and blow up the Venomettes, but they don't want to commit too heavily with securing the kill, as Mickey's ultimate soon to expire, but he can use the Splash Pocket to get out. Zai's going to step in with the ultimate over the jump in as well, but the Static Storm's going to protect him. They'll turn it back around with the duel, but the damage, it's not coming through fast enough. As Cuckoo, he'll end up going down, but the rest of T1, all they got was the Earthshake, and a lot was committed. A BKB from Topson, he won't have it now to escape. But the rest of Liquid, they will not be able to catch up to the Primal Beast. So an incredible fight for Liquid to close out in this early game.
It was such a solid use of the Ice Path there from Insania. You wouldn't... You wouldn't think that he's silly if he just wanted to go forward, pop the Ice Path inside of the Roche pit, just to get that little bit of a vision, but he realizes how important he is to either A, get the stun onto Topson when he's going for those super deep dives, or B, forcing an earlier BKB than he might like. And, you know, obviously he popped the BKB after he was stunned there, so it's honestly the best situation for Team Liquid. It just gave them so much freedom to be able to take that fight super reliably. And that's the downside of having this relatively poor attack damage lineup, right? You can't just walk into the Roche pit against exceptional teamfight, which Liquid have. And they didn't have the Blink Dagger yet on Boxy, so he was forced to use a pretty meh Echo Slam, but he's going to have it, basically, in about 10 seconds.
And their ultimates are back up in a bit. At least the wall, along with the Ice Path, sorry, the Macropie and the Rolling Thunder. So Liquid might still be able to contest Roche. The big thing is the Blink, like you mentioned, coming out shortly, but really the Metamorphosis for the Terrorblade. So we'll see if Liquid still feel like they're in a position to contest this if T1 instantly go in the pit now.
Nice little decision there by Zai, just to make sure he was TPing back in the smallest of nooks in the tree line up top. Some of the vision that's been placed down by T1 is pretty good behind towers, just to catch out any kind of TP rotations, of course. We've seen a couple of glimpses back to base so far. And, well, I'm sure they were hoping for another, but it's still going to be enough for them to secure this first Roshan for themselves. Getting pretty damn close to getting that full Kaya and Sanji. He actually will get it now on Topson, so just waiting for the courier to deliver it out. Pretty big item, level timing as well for the Primal Beast. Level 15 means that you get that basic Dispel. You're not so worried about the reflection. You're not so worried about a lot of the damage over time from the Jakiro either.
Mm-hmm. It looks like instead T1 have kind of going down bottom as a natural progression from Dire. They might consider about taking some of the other objectives. They're also going to take the Ancients away from Liquid. So T1 up top could be on the list, even considering about T2 mid lane as well, but you still got to respect Liquid and their potential to team fight, and once they're able to find some of these extra items, it's going to make it that much easier. Scans on the mark, they know exactly where they are. The smoke's going to pop. Mickey, no hesitation. They're going to be in with the combination, but where's the follow-up, the Fissure? It's on to Arna, but Topson's just going to look to enter the fight. It's trying to bring down the Tubbo Man for the moment, but they need to be cautious about the damage coming up from the Metamorphosis, as Martu will kill the first life, and off to the right side, though, they've caught up the Topson, but he's going to be able to escape. It's back all towards Arna. No one's nearby to keep the Gyrocopter alive as T1. They split up the fight, and it's not enough for them to be able to get back in and keep the Gyrocopter alive. So in the end, Liquid again take another good team fight.
Yeah, they've got good vision. It could have gone a lot worse for Liquid as well. They had a really nice initiation in onto Boxy, making sure they got that damage over time onto him, so his blink was a complete non-factor. And Topson even had the regen rune, so he was able to rejoin that fight if he was in a position to, but Arna's just not tanky enough yet.
It's going to take a while for him to build up that tankiness. Even though he has gone for the plus 200 health at the level 10. Scepter's going to help out a little bit. Even Satanic is the next item. But yeah, it really kind of comes down to Cuckoo's positioning to give him that extra buff up. And I suppose some of the supports, because Zephyr has gone for this defensive item in the mechanism as well.
Yep. You've gotten past the scariest point on Team Liquid, that the endless burst is going to come through. And there is another scary stage that's going to come. Of course, Primal Beast, he's going to keep scaling. He will go the Shivas, like I was thinking, so I'm liking that. Also reduces a little bit of the the heal sustain that's going to be coming through from the mechanism. I'm sure TB is eventually going to look to go into some kind of lifesteal item. But you've also got to contend with, eventually, the items that Ana's got queued up, right? The full Aghanim Scepter and the Satanic, because all of this team fight isn't going to mean as much if you've just got that side gunner consistently attacking. You know, you're going to have a little bit more of that survivability. It might give you the time to get the press the attack off on the Legion Commander.
I mean, T1, what do they need to do different in some of the team fights? Because we have seen now Liquid, that's 2 fights in a row where they've just been able to edge out a trade. So what needs to occur differently from T1 to come out on top in this next team fight?
I think they just need to try and get on the supports if they can. You know, if they can get onto the Shaker or the Jakiro, it's going to be great for them. But again, the issue that I was talking about in the early game still exists. They don't have a way to just walk in onto the backlines. The supports just don't do that.
It's a really good observe board for Radiant to play with. It's giving them a lot of information. They see Ana, they see Zephyr's position as well. Oh, the Ice Blast off the mark.
Ooh,
he's going to try and chuck out the poison over, but I don't think it hit onto anyone. Nope. So, Liquid now, let's see what they want to do. Their lanes are not in the greatest position. They'll need to deal with mid, but they might consider about continuing to push this out and try and find the tier 1 tower.
What's TB got coming out? Might just be selling some stuff. Yep, drops the Wraith Band, drops the Quelling Blade. Looking to go to, I would assume, the Manta style coming out next for TB, just to have even more of that lane pushing style. Again, it's scary if it gets super late against this Gyrocopter with the Ag Satanic, but I mean, a TB is almost as scary.
Bottom lane, they are setting up on Ana. Let's see if he goes for this next creep wave. Oh, he's going to do it. Uh-oh. He's on the creep wave as well, so Boxy can jump with the Echo Slam if they need it. There we go. Ultimate out, but the chain control is perfect as Liquid. They bring down Ana, but they've got to be cautious, though. The retreat needs to come out fast, and Mikke, a great timing with the Aghanim shot. It's going to give him a little bit of invulnerability, but the rest of Tier 1, they've shown up as Cuckoo steps in with a jewel and finds some revenge.
It's not really what they're playing for, though, right? All this time, you get a little bit of extra damage on Cuckoo, but, I mean, who's he realistically going to be able to pick off? Team Liquid, it's gotten to this stage where, you know, maybe they farm up a little bit more, but after that second Roshan, they're all going to be clumped together at all stages of the game. So there's no instant, like, Blink Echo Slam or Blink Black Hole that you've got on T1. So the single target pickoffs from Cuckoo aren't going to be that much. The kill on the Gyrocopter feels like it's so much more important just because of what it means relative to your strength to the TB.
Yeah, I'm concerned on how Ana's going to be able to shape up towards the later stages. The matchup versus the Terrorblade with Matu going for this next item, Skadi, of course, it has a lot of effectiveness versus the ranged heroes. 60 attack speed slow, 40% movement speed as well. More effectiveness against...
Even just a single right-click on Topson when he's trampling through, right? It's going to do so much for his team's survivability.
Like, I guess for Ana, you have the extra buff up at press the attack. Of course, he's going to utilize the bonus attack speed very much, and that could even just the Dispel give him an opportunity to turn it back around with Satanic. Again, we've mentioned that Zephyr's itemizing for utility as well, so both sides are going down that route, but I'm just concerned that this Skadi might give them a little bit of an edge in the fights coming up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is... The next 10, maybe even 15 might be a little bit too long, but 10 to 12 minutes, it's all Liquid. This is their time to be able to really cement their space in this game. They're doing it as well. I mean, all of these illusions up on the top side, they're claiming the top tier 2 tower, they're going to get the outpost, they've got vision control. Basically only of the jungle, though. I'm actually kind of surprised with how much vision they've been able to lay down on T1's side in, you know, pretty uncommon areas that are going to be not highest priority to D-Ward. But I'm sure that whoever's keeping track of the Roshan timer is spamming it out for T1 right now because they're saying, look, we don't really need to play top just yet. We don't have the ability to fight into them. We haven't quite reached our item timing. And Roshan's not up, so it's not the highest priority. Let's try and take something on the bottom side and force Liquid to come down here because that's not where they want to be. They want to be playing up top and keeping that jungle secured.
Tier 3 tower top's taking a little bit of a beating. It's a lot of damage, in fact, that they're dishing out here for Liquid, so see how the rat potential can come into play. And we've seen it in the early on in the day was playing the Visage in game 1 versus Xtreme. try and find a way to call themselves back in.
Ana's got his Ags now. Doesn't have the Satanic just yet. He's going more into the damage, maybe realizing that the Skardi's coming up next for Matu. So just looking to go down that avenue, and he's got the Paladin sword already, so he's got some lifesteal. There's that Shivas. So a lot of big teamfight items coming up very shortly. Really want to see Zephyr even just get the cloak for himself, just for a little bit of magic immunity, you know, to provide that extra half a second that he might need to be able to get off that big ultimate in the middle of a team fight. He's level 12 now, so the damage that it does is kind of insane.
Yeah, it feels like it's go time here for T1. They picked up these items, and for Liquid, potentially still waiting for the Skardi. They're going to make an attempt onto Topson, but Cuckoo, great position with the pressed attack. Is going to buy enough time for Topson to get away with the BKB.
Flops away.
With the help of the Ogre Seal. Yeah, it feels like it's go time here for T1. They picked up these items, and for Liquid, potentially still waiting for the Skardi. They're going to make an attempt onto Topson, but Cuckoo, great position with the pressed attack. Is going to buy enough time for Topson to get away with the BKB.
Flops away.
With the help of the Ogre Seal. Yeah, it flops away. So a little bit invested from either side.
Some people might say Flopson. But I mean, yeah, a lot invested, right? No BKB. No Rolling Thunder is kind of significant. But you just saw how they played that fight. It's kind of what I was talking about at the very start of the draft, where they just had to lay Topson out there as the bait, with Cuckoo right behind. As long as you're not in a stage to get like double stunned by the Earthshaker or double Echo Slammed, then you're almost always going to be able to save Topson, because he can pop his Uproar, he can pop his BKB, he can use the Shivas, he can get away even more easily now with the Ogre Seal Totem. And look at how important they're prioritizing the Roche pit. Boxy, I wouldn't be surprised if he just stays permanently in the pit. Cast a curse, man, he instantly left.
It's a little bit of information, though, for Liquid. They see that Ana TP'd back, so they know exactly where the Gyrocopter is going to be for at least the next 30 seconds or so.
They should know they're smoked. He's trampling in the mid lane. The creep wave died with no one showing, so they might just look to position themselves at the very top. Yep, there we go. Plague Wood gets popped, so they know exact positioning coming through.
Topson.
They're adjusting it.
There's a DD as well for Liquid to play with.
Zephyr, does he have... he doesn't have a sentry, actually. They're constantly seeing exactly where this movement's happening, and they're actually going to make a counter smoke happen.
See the Rolling Thunder. Mickey's going to be in with the double damage rune. That's a big kill, and they'll have plenty of damage to deal with Cuckoo. The Blast Rig's only going to delay it, and they're looking for more as well, as Mickey is already towards the back lane. A beautiful use out of the Rolling Thunder means that T1 will not be able to escape as Matu just charges in forward. Look at the damage coming out from the Terrorblade. They've got no answers to him. Given the surge, given the DD, and Matu will clean up.
He will indeed, and they're even going to clean up Roshan. It's just spawned. Topson's doing his best to try and grab something out of the map with the pushing through into the mid-tier 2 tower. They can pop the glyph to be able to slow this one down a little bit, and they do. Maybe looking to spook him a little bit so that he runs away, but they're still going to get the big prize that they were hoping for. A kill onto Ana, who was looking to scale relative to the TB, and that second Roche.
They're starting to TP in for Topson. He can always just BKB TP out. Got the initial stun with the Fisher Fall. Echo Slam's available, but Boxy's chain control is not going to be fast enough. Topson's going to be quick with the TP, but the BKB is going to expire. And the ice path is there from Insane. You're into the tree line. Mickey will give him the tip as well, as Topson only his second death, 33 minutes in. But Liquid, they've got a big advantage now in this game 1.
They ended up giving the charge over to the Darkseer. I haven't seen it in a competitive game just yet, because it's not normal punch anymore. It's the little slipstream.
Yeah, interesting. Zayas make an attempt onto Cuckoo. Guesses the wrong way. Look at the slipstream. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. We'll see. Well, who else could have taken
Maybe
it?
Jakiro or TV.
Yeah,
but I feel like Insane is just playing so far on the backlines that he's not going to get into range to be able to use it effectively. He hasn't even put a single point into his talents for the attack range, for example.
See what they can get now for Liquid with this Aegis. Are we expecting it just to be all out of towers? Is there any potential for them to crack the high ground?
I think there's potential. I mean, you could just use your you can use your illusions to do a lot of the work on Matu. They're very tanky. He's got the Daedalus, he's going into a Satanic now. I have Skadi, nearly excuse me, nearly level 20. And who really deals with the illusions super reliably outside of the Primal Beast? I mean, best case scenario for T1, you clear them, but Topson probably needs to pop the BKB.
I think it's you need to be considering about getting rid of Zai as well throughout these fights. He's just doing way too much. Like, look at his item build. How are you going to kill anyone if Zai can use Greaves, Rake Pact, Pipe? He's got to be the first one to go.
He does, but I mean, Pipe's passive magic resistance is 30%. That is a lot, man. So I still feel like you need to get in onto Boxy if possible, but his position's been super good. Not just defensively for himself, but to be able to assist his cause a couple of times.
Slips on by Topson, almost clips Matu with the onslaught. They might have gotten a glimpse of Ana. Ooh, did Zai see him? Vacuum just off the mark. Ana will be okay.
And then ping him out. Most of the time, I see Primal Beast look to go into the extra uproar armor per stack. And against the Terrorblade, it's completely yellow.
Matu's completely disconnected from the team, but the instant use of the BKB along with the Sunder means that he's going to be okay for the moment. He's charging forward. Be cautious. The team's starting to connect. They can glimpse back with the ward on the higher ground. They've got the Static Storm laid down. Zai's nearby to try and buff up the Terrorblade as best as possible to keep him alive, but the Vacuum puts Zephyr on the higher ground, but it will not matter. He's able to reposition. A lot forced out early on, but Topson's got no one behind him. An onslaught into the middle with the BKB, but as soon as the BKB expires, they will surround the Primal Beast and bring him down. As Mickey, he's not done just yet as well, but the Arcanum Shard stopping the glimpse. He'll get the kill, but Ana can turn it back around. Boxy nearby, the chain control. It's got the Echo Slam if he wants to layer it down, but Matu again, the Sunder onto Ana. Now the Echo Slam for good measure as T1 just get diced up as Liquid find all 5.
They do indeed, and they keep pushing forward. Still plenty of duration on that Metamorphosis and no buybacks on any of the cores. This might just be it. They might try and look to force into the tier 4 towers just to test some buybacks and see how things are going. They've been able to keep those range creeps alive as well, so at the very minimum it should be 2 lanes of racks. It was a good attempt at the start. I mean, I really appreciate the fact that they looked to use Topson as bait once again, and they got the Metamorphosis and the BKB out of Team Liquid and Matu, but they just went back in. I feel like you're still not in a state where you can look to fight into a Metamorphosis TB.
I think a big reason why they were able to keep him alive was just Zai being the first one there.
Yeah.
With all his utility that he's itemized for. And look,
see you, White One.
No, Zephyr. Topson, he's going to be able to charge in. Has to be very cautious.
So
be right. So
the other thing I was saying before with the Primal Beasts, I see a lot of them go that +4 armor uproar per stack, and again against the Terrorblade, very important. But it really feels like T1 recognize that they've got damage issues. You know, no one's dying instantly. Venomancer, slow ramp up damage. Disruptor, slow ramp up damage. Even the Primal Beast to a lesser extent, right? So you're gonna need to 100 to 0 burst someone before Zai's there to be able to assist. And even if Zai isn't there, you've got Boxy to be able to get a stun off, or you've got Insania with his Ice Pass. Like, it's actually insane how much save that they've got because of their great teamfight draft that they went for on Team Liquid.
Yeah. It just felt like we haven't seen Ana be able to really enter the fights and have that impact that they're requiring out of him. Like, you made all the space in the world early on from Topson and the rest of the crew, but Ana just, at this stage of the game, is second in net worth, but we just see the net worth isn't being able to convert into damage right now. So he needs a lot more time, and I don't know if they're going to be able to find it for him.
I mean, they're going for a smoke. It feels like a little bit of a desperate play, and yeah, Cuckoo's pinging out that mid lane. He's saying, well, someone needs to deal with this because our movement's going to become super obvious if we just walk on out here and there's a mid lane pushing into our base. But, well, Team Liquid doing exactly what they should be. They've got the strength, they've got the net worth advantage, they've got lanes passively pushing into T1's base, and they've got the better team fight. So just stick together. You don't need to extend your net worth lead anymore.
Under attack.
Even just Boxy playing around his Observer Ward. Finger, I'm sure, on the Blink Dagger key, just to make sure that he's able to get away and pop any kind of smokes that might be coming from the left-hand side.
I'm trying to see really what T1 are able to do through this next fight.
I mean,
we mentioned how...
I feel like Ana needs something like a Blink Dagger, to be honest, just to get onto the backlines and actually connect onto whatever Topson targets. It's not the most efficient thing, but I mean, he's just doing nothing in these fights right now.
Yeah, it's a... We'll see what they can get out of with this smoke. They have a ward on the high ground, but...
Boxy picks up an invis as well. He'll probably pop this smoke.
Zephyr. Oh, smoke on smoke. Jump in, Zephyr. That's a good ultimate. Couple of clicks though, and Matu just blows up the Venomancer, and now Boxy with the fissure as well. Holds the Legion Commander into place, and Ana, he's on the other side. Let's see if he can get into the middle of the fight with the help of Topson. They're trying to battle over towards Matumbaman, but the Pulverize not making sure there's a Sunder opportunity, but they're too far ahead. The auras are too much for them to deal with as T1. They have to tap out at game one as Liquid will take it 41 minutes in.
Very, very nice by Liquid. It was pretty clear. They had a game plan from start to finish. I think they weren't expecting the laning stage to go quite as badly as it did, particularly in the mid lane. That net worth lead that T1 were able to establish, what was it, about 5, 6, 7k at super early stage of the game. But they just had this period of about 5 minutes where nothing happened on T1, and I started to get a little bit worried for them, and with good reason. Liquid really showing why